I was excited for my blind date, but as I approached the dimly lit restaurant, a chill ran down my spine. The place was known for its haunting legends, and the moment I stepped inside, an oppressive darkness wrapped around me like a shroud. My date, Alex, greeted me with a smile, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Flickering candlelight cast twisted shadows, and from the corner of my eye, I glimpsed a woman in a tattered white gown, her gaze piercing and sorrowful. As the laughter around us faded, I realized we were not alone, and something sinister lurked just beyond our reach. As we settled in, the air thickened. Conversation flowed between us, but unease gnawed at my gut. Every laugh from nearby tables seemed to echo hollowly, and I caught sight of that woman again, standing in a dark corner, her presence a chilling whisper in my mind. Each time I looked, she faded into the shadows, but I felt her watching. "Are you okay?" Alex asked, concern etched on his face. I nodded, forcing a smile, but my heart raced. The atmosphere shifted, laughter turned to uneasy murmurs, and the temperature dropped. A sudden draft swept through the room, snuffing out our candle and plunging us into darkness. "What just happened?" I whispered, panic creeping in. A cold presence brushed against me, and I felt a rush of icy air. I turned to Alex, but he seemed as confused as I was, glancing around nervously. Just then, the lights flickered back on, illuminating the room in a harsh glare. The woman in white stood closer now, her face partially obscured by shadow. I could see her eyes, dark and hollow, filled with a profound sadness that sent shivers down my spine. Alex must have sensed my fear because he squeezed my hand tightly. "Let's get out of here," he said, his voice shaky. I wanted to agree, but something held me there. The air crackled with tension, and the woman's presence grew stronger, a magnetic pull that kept me rooted in place. "Please, let's just finish our meal," I urged Alex, though I felt my resolve slipping. As dessert arrived, the atmosphere thickened. The woman's figure flickered in the candlelight, her sadness palpable. I could almost hear her thoughts, the weight of her grief pressing down on me. Alex's laughter felt distant, swallowed by the growing darkness. I caught sight of the waiter, his face pale as he hurried past, casting nervous glances toward the corner. Then, without warning, the lights dimmed again. This time, they didn't return to brightness. The restaurant plunged into a suffocating darkness. Fear coursed through me as I felt the cold wrap around my body, a presence breathing down my neck. "Alex," I cried out, but my voice was swallowed by the silence. In that suffocating void, the woman appeared beside me, her icy hand brushing against my arm. My heart raced as her mournful gaze locked onto mine. I could feel her despair, an overwhelming wave of sorrow that threatened to drown me. "Who are you?" I managed to whisper, trembling. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Instead, an icy wind swept through the restaurant, and I felt her emotions crashing into me. Grief, anger, longing. It was as if I were living her memories, witnessing the pain that had trapped her in this world. "Get away from her," Alex shouted, stepping protectively in front of me. But his bravado was futile against the darkness that surrounded us. The shadows pulsed, alive with malice, and I could feel the energy shifting, as if the very walls were closing in. I turned to the woman, my heart pounding. "What do you want?" I shouted, desperation clawing at my throat. Her eyes flickered with recognition, and for a moment, the storm around us stilled. I felt a flicker of understanding pass between us, a connection forged through shared pain. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, wrapping around Alex, pulling him into their grasp. "No," I screamed, lunging toward him, but the darkness held me back. I felt the chill seep into my bones, the terror gripping my heart. The woman in white watched, her expression shifting between anguish and rage. "Let him go," I cried, tears streaming down my face. I could feel the energy building, a storm of sorrow and anger that threatened to consume us all. In that moment, I realized she wasn't just a ghost. She was a reflection of my own fears, my own unaddressed pain. With a surge of determination, I reached out to her. "You don't have to be alone. You can find peace," I shouted, my voice cutting through the chaos. The shadows recoiled, and for a brief moment, light spilled into the darkness, illuminating her face. She hesitated, and in that moment, I saw the flicker of hope in her eyes. "Please," I urged, feeling the connection deepen. "Let go of the pain that binds you. We can break this together." The shadows wailed, a cacophony of anguish. But I stood my ground, refusing to let fear take hold. "You are not alone," I repeated, pouring my heart into my words. The light surged again, and I felt the energy shift, the darkness weakening. With a final cry of anguish, the woman lunged forward to that, and I felt her essence intertwining with mine. The air exploded with light, a brilliant wave that pushed back the shadows. I could hear the screams fading into silence, the darkness dissipating like mist in the morning sun. As the light enveloped us, I caught one last glimpse of the woman's face, no longer sorrowful, but filled with gratitude. The oppressive energy lifted, leaving behind a lingering warmth. In that moment, I felt her pain dissolve, and I understood that she had finally found peace. When the light faded, I stood alone in the restaurant, the chaos gone. Alex lay on the ground, breathing but shaken. I rushed to him, relief flooding through me as I pulled him into my arms. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice trembling. He blinked up at me, confusion in his eyes. What just happened? I could hardly find the words to explain, but as I looked around the now empty room, I felt a sense of triumph. We had faced the darkness and emerged together. As we stepped outside, the night felt different, lighter, almost alive. I glanced back at the restaurant, half expecting to see her lingering in the shadows, but there was nothing, just the quiet hum of life returning to the night. I had gone there seeking connection, but what I found was something far more profound, a reminder that even in darkness, light can prevail, and lost souls can finally find their way home.